Welcome to Community Unitarian Universalist Congregation at White Plains. My name is Mohammed Lutfi. I am a board member of CUUC Board of Trustees. We gather in the light of four truths. It's a blessing you were born. It matters what you do. Your experience of the divine is true, and an important reminder: you do not have to go it alone. If you are visiting us for the first time online this morning, please take a moment to click the link in the chat and fill out the visitor form and let us know how you'd like to be connected. You'll find the order of service on our website, cuucwp.org. If you are new and visiting in person, we invite you to stop by the welcome table and say hello. Part of being in community is sharing our lives with one another. All are invited to share a joy or sorrow in our milestones book on the table by the south windows. Or if you are joining online, please add yours to the link in the chat. Indicate if you would like them read out loud or if you would like to connect with someone about your joy or sorrow. Welcome. It's great to be together.
Draw
We begin our service with a shared ritual, lighting our chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist tradition. Please join me in saying the words from Eric Habern that are printed in your order of service. And and on the screen. We light this flame to remind us love is the center. As we grow and connect, mature and deepen, love remains the center. When the light of truth burns all else away, love remains.
For our first hymn this morning, we have in the teal hymnal 1053, How Could Anyone? If you would rise in body and or spirit and join me in singing.
I am Tracy Brenneman over here, Congregation's religious educator, and my pronouns are she, her. This morning, we have a story about love. And Rose, I see that you have one of the love coloring sheets. Nice. Well done. Well done. And we have a puzzle going. So Lachlan's dad has the book, and he's going to turn pages while I read so that you all can see it here and everybody else can see it up on the screen. Mari spilled her crayons onto the table. They made a messy rainbow. "What are we coloring, Mama?" she asked. Mama smiled. "A message for the world." Mari ran to the window and pressed her nose to the glass. Far below, people walked in different directions. Buses, cars, and taxis honked and grumbled down the busy street. Mari asked, "How will the world hear?" "They'll hear," Mama said, "because love is powerful." Mari climbed onto her mama's lap. The crayons smelled sharp and new. Mama used one to write some letters. Even though Mama's words stretched across the poster, they would be too small for the world to read, Mari thought. Mari picked up a crayon and she made her own sign. She imagined her friends in their apartments across the city. Grandma and Grandpa a plane ride away, and all the people in other countries. Mari wondered how the whole world see our message. Mama hugged her close. "They'll see," she said, "because love is powerful." Mama handed her a coat, and then they both laced up their shoes. Mari tucked the posters under one arm and held Mama's hand with the other. They slipped through the elevator doors. Down, down, down they went, all the way to the lobby. Mari hopped onto the sidewalk, then stopped and looked up. The street was packed with people, more people than she'd ever seen in her entire life. That's a lot of people. Mari tugged on her mama's arm and asked her to kneel down. Then she whispered into Mama's ear, "Mama, it's so loud and there's so many people. They won't hear our message." Mama, "They will, little Mari." Mama lifted Mari up, and for a moment she felt like she was flying. On top of Mama's shoulders, Mari could see the crowd swell for blocks. Hundreds and thousands, even hundreds of thousands of people marched down the street. Look at all those people. Some held signs like Mari's, all saying different things. Everyone cheered as they walked together. Mama joined them. Mari bobbed above the crowd like a canary fluttering over trees. She felt as tall as one of the buildings. Mari raised her sign for everyone to see. Even though she was small and the crowd was very big, so big she didn't think anyone would hear her, she called out her message. Through the roar, her voice was heard, and then someone shouted the message back. Mari yelled again, and more joined in, and she yelled the message. This time, when the crowd called back, Mari's message rumbled down the street and echoed off the buildings. It was as loud as breaking waves. Love is powerful. And if we turn the page, do you know who this is? Who do you think this is? That's Mari. That's right. She was 6 years old when she went to the Women's March, and she had two signs that she made. One said, "Love is powerful," and the other said, "Be kind." And Mari wants to remind us that one voice can be heard and one voice can make a difference. She says, "My advice to you is believe in yourself. Be confident and don't be afraid to speak up. And remember to speak up not just for yourself, but for other people too."
You can remain seated and we'll sing twice.
In this faith, we engage in generosity. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope, and we covenant freely and compassionately to share our faith, presence, and resources. Our generosity connects us one to another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality, and is deeply appreciated. For October, we share our plate with the PrideWorks Conference for LGBTQ+ youth and allies. PrideWorks is a day-long conference offering much-needed space for ally education and, most importantly, joyful celebration, affirmation, and welcoming for LGBTQIA++ youth. Over 600 youth and adults attend each March. We have a long-standing youth at the conference. Many in this congregation support it by tabling, presenting workshops, volunteering, welcoming conference attendees as they arrive, and through generous financial contributions. It's been especially heartwarming to see how our presence of love and affirmation means so much to the youth. In youth ministry, it's important that we show up where our youth need us to be. PrideWorks is deeply appreciative of your support. Thank you, Enid. Our reading is by Anne Barker, titled When the Unimaginable Happens. When we heard the news, saw the wreckage, felt the paralyzing blow, our hearts broke open, spilled out into our hands. And there we were, watching our love seep between our fingers, watching our frail love pour out all over us, watching our love seem to slip away. When the unimaginable happened, the ache that we felt as if love was being lost was the ache of love's despairing truth. This is the love that no one chooses, the loss so out of order, so profound, the love we did not ever want to know. And yet, the source of this despair, the reason our hearts cleave and flow, is because they know fullness. This is the love of truth and beauty, love that spans the web of being, uniting each of us within its timeless form. When we heard the news, our hearts broke open, spilled out into our hands, and there we stared at love, lamenting, "What am I to do with this?" And when these raw and tender yearnings, we will, beat after precious beat, seek wholeness once again. It will take time to find balance, to grieve if we make room. Remember, friends, this is the right thing. This ache within our deepest beings. Know that all of these things are normal. To feel disrupted, empty, undone. Our hearts broke open, and the love that is still true draws us once again together, story by story, step by step, into places of tender knowing, remembering to restore us, mend us, piece by broken piece. This is the love that runs between us, sustaining force of restoration, the love that nourishes and feeds us, binds us each to our collective core. We grieve and march and weep and sing, and through the pain, but not despite it, love will repair us. Not the same, but stronger in some places, honoring memories like treasures, living out our lives' potential in the warmth of one another, in the light of restored what we will become.
Part of being in community, being together when the unimaginable happens, being here in this space where we love and we hold and we grieve and we cry and we yell and we breathe and we breathe. Part of being in community is sharing our lives with one another, sharing our joys, sharing our sorrows, being reminded that in community we hold this together for a while. What we so often feel we are asked to carry alone. If you will join me in the spirit of prayer, the spirit of meditation, this spirit of centering our minds, our hearts on that which is most sacred to us. Spirit of life, love which connects and holds all. It is good. It is good to be together. May we begin sharing gratitude. Gratitude for the gift of this day, which is ours, for being together, for feeling the connection that exists. To those present here, extends through our technology, to those joining us online, all the way to those who will be joining us in the future. We lift into this love tomorrow, being the 1 year since the attack on Israeli citizens. We hold in love families, community, all those impacted that day and the days following. We lift into this love all those who are suffering the effects of war in Gaza and Israel, Ukraine, Russia, Lebanon, all areas of conflict. In recognition of the High Holy Days, I share these words from Reverend David Miller. These are incredibly complicated times. Our hearts are breaking for all the innocent lives lost, all the violence, all the othering, all the pain, all the hate. There are generations of trauma, feeling all parties' beliefs that somehow efforts to remove the other will somehow succeed. These efforts don't change minds and hearts. They often only lead to the birth of further generations of fear, of anger, of trauma, with the result that all who are dying are the true victims. So he writes, on these high holidays, we close the old book and open the new one. We offer this prayer. May those who lead with violence awaken to our complete interdependence. May those who are suffering be saved by the limitless recognition of our common humanity. May those who enter into this new year gather the strength to find new ways to impact the world, to break these cycles, to firmly place love at the center of all we do, in order not just to save the world, but also each other. And in doing so, we save ourselves. We share this space in somber, holy recognition of the many unimaginable events in our lives, in our communities, in the world. I believe in intention. I believe in the power of small actions to remind us that we are capable of doing something, always. Even something like lighting a candle, to be reminded of connection, of warmth, of light, even if and when things feel dark. In this spirit, I invite everyone to come forward and light a candle. If you're joining online, to light a candle at home. Light a candle for what is on your heart. Light a candle for someone you love. Light a candle for someone you don't know. Light a candle of intention for hope, for resolve, for the courage to carry your light, to meet the moment that you were made for. I invite you forward to light candles. how beautiful the candles are as they shine and dance together. We share our final prayer reading from Reverend Drew Patton. I side with the people. If they ever ask you, which side are you on? Tell them plainly, I side with the people, with the precious ones, all the integral, the soft, and the fierce, irreplaceable, the beloved, if only by God and trees who were born, who breathe and survive. Say, I side with those who keep watch beneath the bright screaming arc of bombs, for those who hide in dark doorways or who through the moonlight flee, with those who stay and fight, with those kept up all night by hunger and grief and terror and rage, by desperate, unruly hope, who are good and green at the root, who are more than the worst they've ever done, who do their best to love and still pass on the hurt in themselves. But what when they take side against each other, the people against even themselves, but what when? Side with whatever is human in them, what is fragile and feeling and flesh. Side with the truth of our stories. Side with the fact of our pain. Side with defiant insistence on freedom. Side there again and again and again. Side there today and tomorrow. Side there the rest of your life. Side there together until we belong, each one to every other. May it be so.
Our reading today is from the book of the Prophet by Gibran Khalil Gibran, Lebanese philosopher who died here in New York in 1932. It's a passage on love. Love has no other desire but to fulfill itself. But if you love and must needs have desires, let these be your desires: to melt and be like a running brook that sings its melody to the night, to know the pain of too much tenderness, to be wounded by your own understanding of love, and to bleed willingly and joyfully, to wake at dawn with a winged heart and give thanks for another day of loving, to rest at the noon hour and meditate love's ecstasy, to return home at eventide with gratitude, and then to sleep with a prayer for the beloved in your heart and a song of praise upon your lips.
Love is powerful. Love is powerful. Love is powerful. I'm going to repeat this sometimes. I find it hard to remember. Love is powerful. For Unitarian Universalists, for us, love is foundational. A universal love that is larger than human experience, an infinite love that no finite human can impact. So therefore, as the early Universalists would say, we create heaven and hell on earth for each other. For in this world, that is our responsibility. For there is a love so large waiting for us that there is nothing we can do to separate ourselves from it. There is nothing we can do to separate ourselves from that love. May it be so. Fine. Fine, said a member of my former congregation. Fine. I hear what you just said about universalism. That's fine, but what does that tell me about my life right now? I was used to him coming up to me after sermons. We had one of those relationships where I would say something, we would make eye contact, and he'd write it down, and then we'd talk after. You know who you are if you're still watching. What I wasn't prepared for on this particular Sunday was an admission. Fine. But Reverend Danielle, how do I live my life with this idea when I have had countless experiences of people choosing to be cruel, people choosing greed, people only caring about power? How do I hold that even that person gets that love? That person who has lived with such hatred, how can I believe in their inherent worth and dignity? And why should I? Oh, is this familiar? Ooh, why should I? He explained he was struggling with the first principle of Unitarian Universalism, the inherent worth and dignity of every person, or through our value-based language, equity, that each person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness. And that's a fair question. Reverend Rebecca Parker, who wrote There Is a Love, that we've been singing to our children, right, once wrote that the faith of universalism is fragile. From her quote, "It is continually assaulted by life experiences that teach us to doubt. The most obvious thing is not that we are all saved by this love. The most obvious thing is that the world is full of brokenness and suffering and injustice." And it is. It is. For me, this is where the word inherent becomes really important. Someone's worth and dignity is inherent. It is permanent. It is essential. Universalism tells us that all are inherently worthy of love. We are all loved. That is brave. Nowhere does it say that it's easy. Friends, this is not an easy faith you have joined. And his question remains, fine, how? Why? In her book, See No Stranger, a memoir to revolutionary love, activist, documentarian, and lawyer Valerie Carr explains that when a family friend was first killed in a hate crime after September 11th, she began to document everything that was happening. She began holding conversations about hate all over the United States, and she offers this challenge, quote, "Revolutionary love is our choice to labor for others and for ourselves in order to transform the world around us. It begins with wonder. You are a part of me I do not yet know." It is not a formal code or prescription, but an orientation to life that is personal, political, sustained by joy. She continues, "Loving ourselves is only escapism. Loving only our opponents is self-loathing. Loving only others is ineffective. All these practices together make love revolutionary. And revolutionary love can only be practiced in community." Ending her reading, we need one another. If we begin with wonder, then we have to be ready to listen, deep listening, to hear stories and risk getting close in order to understand. She shares the stories of the nuns on the bus. Sister Simone Campbell was part of a group that was going around holding listening circles to find common ground with disaffected white conservatives in 2016. Bless them in that work. Sister Simone listened to an individual, and he was sharing truly hurtful things about immigrants and the effect on his country. He shared that he was going to vote for someone who understood him and his side. Sister Simone wanted to immediately go into fact-checking, right? And offering other policy ideas. Perhaps that's our impulse as well, right? Instead, she thought to herself, there is a story happening here. After listening for a bit, she heard a common theme and responded. It sounds like you feel ashamed that you did not live up to your father's expectations. It sounds like you feel ashamed that you did not live up to your family's expectations. He started to cry, and she realized that this was actually a story about needing to belong. It was a story about needing to succeed. It was a story about needing to matter, and his anger was a symptom of his larger experience. She shares that a practice of revolutionary love, of understanding that we are all connected, is to lean into wonder, hear stories, help each other transform our pain rather than transfer it to someone else. An idea shared by Franciscan priest Ronald Rohr: pain that is not transformed is transferred. Through listening to one another, hearing stories, and understanding each other's pain, we can transform one another, or at least hold some space for the beginning of transformation to be possible. Transformation is one of our values as Unitarian Universalists. It's my favorite value. Transformation, we adapt to the changing world. We covenant. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages. Openness to change is fundamental. Remember, I said it wasn't easy. Openness to change, never complete and never perfect. She continues to say, we choose to remember that the goal of listening, and this is this specific, this deep listening across differences and divide, the goal of that listening is not to feel empathy. It is not to validate ideas, right? Sister Simone wasn't working to validate his ideas. That was not the goal, but rather working to get underneath of them, right? Her goal wasn't even to change his mind in the moment. She writes, our goal is to understand them. In understanding the cultural forces that shape a belief, the institutions that embolden people to act on it, we can better focus on what we need to fight, right? She explains understanding the forces that shape belief, understanding the institutions that embolden people to act on it. We can better focus on what we need to fight, not a few bad actors, but entire policies, entire platforms and echo chambers that perpetuate supremacy. She writes, listening does not grant the other side legitimacy. That's really important. Listening does not grant the other side legitimacy. It grants them humanity, and it preserves our own. Love is powerful. Love is powerful. Love is powerful. And we practice this when we have the space and when we are safe to do so. Understanding that place and privilege factor into when it is our work to do the deep transformational listening and when it is someone else's work to do. The universal revolutionary love does not demand that I stay in relationships that will cause me harm. It does not demand that I stay in relationships that will put me in danger. If that is the case, then it isn't my work to do. I can leave that and trust someone else to pick up that piece. Part of this work is to understand the difference, especially those of us with privilege, with power in situations, to understand the difference between being uncomfortable and being unsafe. There's a difference there. Bell Hooks asks us, how do we hold people accountable for wrongdoing and yet at the same time remain in touch with their humanity enough to believe in their capacity to be transformed? I have to believe that. It's how I understand, it's how I practice this universal love. It's believing and knowing that every person is capable of making a different decision tomorrow than they did today. Every person can be transformed tomorrow. What does it feel like to hold that? Every person can make a different decision. In this time of deep divide, of racist rhetoric around immigration, that divide religion and gender and sexuality, it takes disrupting. It takes deep listening. Listening to hear beyond hatred. To hear underneath hatred, underneath the divisive and often all too successful tool to keep people in power, to keep us feeling like we are actually far more different than we are the same. To bring about that change, it takes us doing what we can. Listening deeply, even when it's challenging. Because maybe then we can find those moments of transformation. Those moments of transformation so that we can focus on what we need to fight, not a few bad actors, but entire policies and platforms and echo chambers that perpetuate supremacy. That's the work we're called to do. That's the work it takes to build and be beloved community. We have an opportunity to do some of this today. Right? A chance to live and learn, lean into our Unitarian Universalist values. Our reproductive justice team is hosting a conversation with New York State's Equal Rights Amendment Proposition 1. That's what the conversation is about, with Senator Shelley Mayer and from Planned Parenthood, Tyler Davis. The proposal amends Article 1, Section 11 of the New York Constitution. So this is an amendment to the state constitution. Section 11 right now protects against unequal treatment based on race, color, creed, religion. Great start. Great start. The proposal will amend the act to also protect against unequal treatment based on ethnicity, national origin, age, disability, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, pregnancy outcomes, as well as reproductive health care and autonomy. Sounds a lot better. This conversation is going to include some ideas on how to talk with your neighbors, a chance to practice revolutionary love as deep listening to understand, transform, and ultimately impact our systems to be more inclusive, more caring, more just. coffee and conversation will be in Fellowship Hall after our service. Love is powerful. I believe we are called to side with the people, all of the people. Side with whatever is human in them, what is fragile and feeling and flesh. Side with the truth of our stories. Side with the fact of our pain. Side with defiant insistence on freedom. Side there again and again and again. Love is powerful. Love is powerful. Love is powerful. May it be so, so may it be. Amen. I invite you to rise in body and in spirit. Join in singing hymn number 1002, Comfort Me. All five verses of Comfort Me.
We extinguish this flame to remind us love is the center. As we explore and rest, engage and heal, love remains the center. When all we can see is cold ashes, love remains.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. After worship today, the CUUC Reproductive Rights Social Justice Team is hosting an information session about Proposition 1, Equal Rights Amendment, with guest speakers State Senator Shelley Mayer and Tyler Davis from Planned Parenthood. Come find out more about this important legislation, including how to talk with your neighbors about this topic. Childcare is available. Our weekly e-communitarian and RE newsletter offer many details of activities here at CUUC, and the flyer table in the fireside area has materials you can take with you. Please take a moment to discover the many ways we can connect with each other in community. It has been a gift to be together today. As we enjoy our parting music, please spend a few minutes talking with someone you don't know, escort each other to coffee hour and the ERA information session, and may we all know the blessings of community.
There is a love. There is a love that calls to us, the deepest broken parts, that love that won't let us go. It won't let anyone go, the love that reminds us others love us too. For those entering the new year from Rabbi Rutenberg, may it be a year of love and laughter and connection and inspiration, of learning and delight, of just action and righteous diversity, of truth-telling, creativity, bravery, and reaching out, gathering in, of solidarity and dignity and joy, and all of our collective liberations toward a more whole, more healed world. Love is powerful. Our worship, or our time of collectively holding that which is most worthy of our time and attention at the center, is over. Our service to one another, our service to our community, our service to our world begins again. Go now in peace. Go now in peace, knowing this love.